Thank you, Selena. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for saying yes when I asked. I appreciate that. Now, let's just get into it. My
Okay.
favorite question that I love to ask Naomi. Well, let me get started here. First of all, welcome to Coaching Conversations. Sometimes I want to forget the intro. And what we do here is we have conversations with other folks in the coaching industry. Some people are new to coaching and may have not experienced it, and it's my way of being able to share who I am as well as other coaches in my fellow coaching community and in the world, and the services that they provide. You may be able to find what you need in that way. And coaching speaks to my strengths. So I just love doing this and having conversations. So with us, we have got one of my other coaching sister friends, Miss Naomi Machin. Am I saying that correctly, Machin?
It's Machin.
Machin. I love that. So what I love to ask Naomi is, how do you show up in the world?
I show up as my authentic self. I mean, I just show up as the person I feel like God created me to be. Um, yeah,
And who is that person that God created you to be?
I'm an encourager. I know I was put on this earth to encourage people to live their best lives. I've been doing, I mean, I raised my kids to do that. I family members. And so, yeah, I'm that person.
So let me ask you, what inspired you to pursue coaching? And what type of coach are you?
Okay, so when I first got into it, I started with Amazon coaching because I had a Amazon FBA business, and I will help people start their business and get it going. And that's how this whole thing started. I didn't have any formal training, any type of certification. I was just doing it because I knew how to do it. And then life happened, and I needed a coach, a life
Mm,
coach, um, for my marriage. And actually, I needed a divorce coach because I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. And that's why I decided to, one, write my book, and two, become the person I needed, because I needed somebody to hold my hand, to tell me all the things, to give me some emotional support, to give me some advice on how to find a lawyer, how to go in there and ask for what I want. So, yeah.
I love that. So we have a similar path, girl. I'm learning all the good stuff. It sounds like, I would say, based upon all of that, you took your power and used it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. You were who you needed to be. That is like fantastic.
Yeah.
And what happened along that journey? Let's talk about it. You wrote a whole book too?
Yeah. So, the Amazon coaching, I was kind of over it because I was in the process of selling my business. I wanted to do something more meaningful and fulfilling. And then when I was going through my divorce and just going to therapy, before I even decided, this was years back, 4 years
Mhm,
ago, and I was
mhm.
going to therapy, I was healing myself. I was like, okay, I got to heal this part of me so I can't stop attracting these type of people in my life, you
Yes.
know? So I went through that, and then I'm like, you know what? So I started healing me and started taking my power back, started setting boundaries. And that's when I was like, you know what? I want to do something like this to help other people, because I know I'm not the only one in this situation. And I
Wow.
even talked to my therapist about it. She was like, listen, I'm happily married. And so she couldn't understand where I was coming from. And I needed somebody to be like, who went through it
Yes.
and tell me like you can be resilient. There's power on the other side of it. There's some ups and downs and everything, but she couldn't do that. So I was like, well, I need a divorce coach. And I just became that person for
Abs-
myself. I coach myself from the tools and stuff from my cohort, and I just kind of reverse engineer it to suit my needs. And then I was like, okay, I got it.
I love that. And so when you say from your cohort, do you mean the cohort that we are part of, the Hello Seven?
Yes, the
Really? So
Hello
that was
Seven. Yeah,
in real
yeah.
time?
It was real time. It was very
Dang,
raw. Yeah,
that is bad ass.
yeah,
That is badass. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Man. Wow. Wow. Well, tell us what are some of the things that you learned along the way in doing this with your own power, like without support? Would you say you didn't have
No, no, I kind of created my support, right?
yeah.
So I had my therapist and I did different types of therapy. It
Hmm.
wasn't just talk therapy because those wounds were deep and we weren't getting there just by talking about it. So I did somatic therapy. I did EMDR where it was the eye movement and it desensitized the situation,
Yeah.
and I love that. That really kind of got me over the hump because I was, with therapy, it takes you only so far. And then you're
Yes.
like, okay, this isn't working. So the EMDR was good. And then I even went a step further with rapid resolution therapy. And
Mm,
that really sealed the deal for me. And so with just years and years of trauma that I had to unpack and face, it really just solidified like, okay, I need to, first of all, a lot of people don't know about other types of therapy, and just
absolutely.
put it out there because I learned about it from a podcast, and I go, okay, I'm going to talk to my therapist about this.
And so did you do it all with the same therapist, or because on my
No,
journey,
she recommended. No,
okay,
she recommended somebody else because she was like I said, she was on it. She was like, I cannot help you with this.
right, right. I love that. I appreciate that. And it sounds like you were just fierce about it. Like, I'm ready. I didn't put up with this shit long enough.
Yes.
That's how
Yes, it's like I cannot keep attracting these types of people in my life. It's like different face, but and it shows up with acquaintances, friends or people you volunteer with. It's the same energy, and I was like, I need to get
Mhm.
rid of this type of energy out of my life. I need to heal whatever is attracting these people, and I did that, and I took the time to do that.
What did you find in your healing journey that helped you the most?
It's just what has helped me the most in my healer journey is journaling.
Mm,
um just writing out all the stuff that I was told, all the lies, the bullshit, just the negative things that I played in my head. If you hear it enough, you kind of believe that stuff, like, oh, am I not really not much without this person? And I mean, is this part of my identity? What are people going to say? Am I a failure for getting a divorce? Am I a failure because I tried to make this work and it's not working?
yeah.
And it's just writing all of that down for me, writing all of that down and just count, just questioning it, just like,
Right.
okay, is this true? No, I was
Mhm.
actually a complete person before I got married.
That part. Yes.
So just challenging those beliefs, that's what really helped me because I have to like sit with it. I will write down something and I will sit with it and I will pick it apart. Like, that's not true because it
Mhm.
XYZ. I have proof, you know?
Evidence. Yes, ma'am. Let me ask you, do you identify as a Christian woman?
I do.
Okay. So did religion play a role?
Um, okay. Because I'm on the fence with this because my ex used the Bible to try to make me stay. And I have a great relationship with my creator. I
Mm,
do. And so I I didn't. I tried to. I used it limit. I used a little bits and pieces of it, just not because I felt like he was trying to control me with that. He was
Absolutely.
trying to. He was like, "Well, this is what this says," and I'm like, "Well, you cannot just expect me to say, okay, well, the Bible says this to stay in this situation that you caused, by the way. You put us here. This is your fault, you know." So I mean, it's a work in progress for me. I am a believer, but just because that was thrown in my face the way it was, I I I struggle.
I can relate. Same thing here. I was I was in a narcissistic, toxic, abusive marriage. And when I say abusive, there are multiple forms of abuse: psychological, emotional, there's physical,
Right.
all of the things, right? Mental. And my ex was a Jehovah's Witness. So I would
Oh
call it
wow.
Bible beating me, right? Like
Yes,
the word
absolutely.
all over the place. So I identify with this journey and what you're saying. I have goosebumps right now as I hear you talk about these things. And so I love this, and I'm thinking at some point we have to collaborate because I'm I I'm coaching from the perspective of once you've cut the ties and you're no longer in that sick environment that has gotten you there, then where do you go? To your self-loving, to really knowing
Mhm.
who you are, just like you talked about the journaling, to realize this stuff is not true
Right.
about me, and I'm a whole person. I personally believe, yeah, I believe that a lot of women are in this situation because of the patriarchal dynamics of religion and societal norms. What do you think about that? Or what do you
Absolutely. I feel the same way. And society tells us as women that we're not nothing unless we have a man by our side. And that within itself is horrible. And then when it's like, oh, you're going to be a single woman, like
Mhm.
a single woman with children. Oh, that's bad. Well, is it? Is it that bad? I'd rather be a single woman with children than to be a married woman dying inside because
Yeah.
Selena, I
Yep.
can tell you that's what I was doing. I
Yep.
was literally dying,
Absolutely.
just sucking the life.
I fully
Yeah.
feel you
Hmm.
in that regard. And I believe that children what they learn what they see. So what are you really
Absolutely.
teaching the children, right?
To
And
live
the
in dysfunction. Yeah.
absolutely. And the beauty that you took your power back and wrote this book. Tell us about this book.
This book was written for the person for me, who decided to get a divorce 4 years ago.
Hmm.
And she was lost. She was confused. All she knew was, I got to get out of here.
Hmm.
That's all she knew. And I was just like, I'll look up stuff online. I didn't see anything. And then I was like, man, if I find a lawyer, he's going to find out. I was just very scared to move. So it's given that person who made the decision but don't know how to move yet all the information you need. Whether whatever budget you have or whatever budget you're working with, I have something for you. You don't need a lawyer like we were talking about earlier. You don't, and I believe that I did, and I quickly found out from my research and all this the things that I did was like, you know what, I could have done this for $400. I kid you not, $400.
Absolutely. Been there, done that. I did handle my
Yeah,
own divorce.
yeah.
What is the name of the book?
It is From Divorce to New Beginnings, a holistic approach to rebuilding your life and financial future.
I love that. I love that. We'll drop that. We'll drop that in the caption. after this conversation. Repeat that to us one more time. That's a hell of a book.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah,
It's From Divorce to New Beginnings, a holistic approach to rebuilding your life and financial future.
I love.
Because like you have to start over. You no longer have those two incomes to you have one. And you gotta budget, you gotta start over, you have to rethink. It's just a lifestyle change. It's financial stress, it's an adjustment.
Hmm. And I have to say, I don't really see it as starting over. I like what you say about it being a new beginning. You're starting anew.
That's right.
You don't
Yeah.
want to repeat what you do not.
Well, you're not starting from ground zero, right? You're
Absolutely.
not We're not at ground zero. We know a
Right.
few things now.
Absolutely. And so, what are some other things that you would say that you know now that you can share and help other women? What does the book touch on?
To touch on just your why. Why are you here? Because
Mm,
that was something important to me that I had to write down in the beginning because, there are good days and bad days, right? And
absolutely.
then when you're in that mindset of making a decision, then this person is nice to you, right? For a
Mhm.
week and you forget. But no, I was like, listen, I know why. I'm sticking to it, sticking to the plan. So
Mm,
just write out why and really keep that close because you're going to need that because they're going to gaslight you, guilt you, however, whatever the Bible abuse, Bible, it will happen. So
mhm,
just knowing why is super important. And for the kids, is not an option,
mhm.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At what point in your journey did you write out the why? Where were you in your journey for those women that may need to do that?
It was at the beginning because I was literally just like, okay, I'm gonna wait till my kids graduate
Mm,
high school, right? And I was like, I can't hold on that long. That's a long time. So I decided that in 2019 and I wrote that out. And it has been with me in my notebook. I look at it, I looked at it every day in the beginning and then like
mhm.
once a week when I needed it.
When you needed it. Oh my goodness, that
Mhm.
is so rich. What did
Because then I started feeling like guilty because you do feel guilty. You're like, I'm
mm,
ruining my kids' lives. You start believing all the things, right?
mm,
And I'm like, no, I'm probably ruined their lives staying in something that is so unhealthy. And I'm teaching them that, you know, this is this is normal and it's not. You could be happy in a relationship. You don't have to be miserable and put on the front whenever you go out because that's what we would do. We'd be like, oh, okay, everything's perfect. And
mm,
it's not.
absolutely. Absolutely. What wow. I'm fascinated by you. I just really am. You wrote the book. You were what you needed at the time. One question I like to ask is because I am the disrupt her coach. What would you say you had to disrupt
Just
in your life?
not giving in to like, okay, so when I made the decision and I knew I was going to hear from family members and like, they made me feel like I wasn't enough of
Yeah.
who I was, like I wasn't enough being me. And
Mm,
I needed that. I needed like, well, what are you gonna do? What about the kids' college? What I'm like, we'll figure that out. Like money is we can make some money, right?
right.
But they made me feel like and I'll allow them to make me feel like I was nothing without a
Mm,
marriage. It was part of my identity. Like
mm,
and I had to let that go. Like it's not I had to release that identity of and that has helped me to move forward.
absolutely. It's key, right? To know who you are.
Right, right.
Absolutely. I love that you recognize and were able to figure that out and hold to that.
It wasn't, I mean, as you know, it's ups and downs to this. It's not a linear process. It's just
Mhm.
like you take a step, there's a small setback. You know, you start thinking about Christmas, holidays, and the guilt and the shame and all of that. And now I'm like, it was not worth it. It's not worth it. And right now, I wouldn't even call it shame, but in the beginning, I was like, I was shameful. I felt like a failure because
Absolutely.
how did all these people have wonderful, married for 20, 30 years? It's like, did they go through this? Or,
Mhm.
it was just dysfunction.
Yeah, I get that. Did how was it for your children in going through it? Because I would imagine that you had to tell them at some point that this is what's happening.
Oh yeah, yeah. They were not happy about it. It was a very sad day, and we told them early on so that, and I wanted to because I didn't want to change my mind.
Mm,
And I yes, it was something I was like they got to know because I know me. If I don't just put it out there, that was a possibility. I could have retreated and
right.
been vulnerable and not and changed my mind. So I
Hmm.
was just like, you know what? I'm going to put it out there.
And we didn't talk about this, and I didn't get to finish the entire book. Um, but there sounds like some strong similarities. Did your would you were there narcissistic qualities present in the marriage?
Oh my
This is
God.
just because
Yes.
I'm curious. Okay,
Oh yeah.
okay, okay, because that explains a lot, right? Because I'm called to serve women that have cut ties after narcissistic relationships. So that everything is like sounding so familiar. I'm like, okay, absolutely. Right. And that's one of the things, right? They're gonna use every trick in the book, the gaslighting, they're the victims, like all of those things. I'm so encouraged by you because that is what's so important to remember who you are, and it's not about that person. It's about
Right.
you. It's all
Right.
about you.
And they try to play the victim. It's your
Absolutely.
fault that you're breaking up the family. You're doing this. You're
Right.
doing that. Like I
Right.
didn't do anything. I just finally set some boundaries first
Absolutely.
of all, and stop taking your shit. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah,
I think the dynamics really changed after that.
yeah, right.
Um, I loved it. I have so many doggone questions. Let me organize my thoughts now that I know that answer. What would you, from a divorce coach perspective, walk us kind of through that journey. What does that look like when you work with your clients? Do they get the book? Like, what does that look like when
I
they?
mean, it can start there. It can start with the book. It can start with them finding me on the internet or through advertising, and it's all discreet. Privacy is key because it's I'm very client focused, and I have to create a safe space so they can open up and share so that we can move forward because I need to know everything. There's no judgment. There's no because I feel like I've been through it. I'm not judging anybody, because
Mhm.
I understand how you can get into a vulnerable position and be taken advantage of, and men just your husband can just take advantage of you and treat you like a doormat. Like I understand that. So I
Mhm.
create this safe space where they can share and we just kind of go from there. And
Absolutely.
then we create a plan. And it's a we create goals and they will tell me their vision and we can just create steps to along that. And I even give a script. Like
Absolutely.
because I had a friend who treated her divorce lawyer like a counselor. She went in there, like telling her side of the story, and she gets this bill. She was like, I can't believe that. Like, because you went in there without saying, okay, we're getting a divorce. Here's what it is. You don't have to explain why. You just say, we just have some differences. We're not getting along. It's an unsupportive relationship. And how do I move forward? How can you help me? Instead of telling them your whole story and then because they're going to listen. They're going to
Abs-
listen.
Oh, okay. So that was kind of like you might have been there for hours,
Yeah, you can be there for hours. They will let you be there for hours.
and then they're billing you, right?
I Right, absolutely. And even a consultation, depending on who you go to, those are not free. So you're
Mm.
getting billed for that hour or 2 hours. Yeah.
Do you have a recommendation? What's the deciding factor if you choose to go with an attorney versus doing it yourself?
If it's simple, I would say, and simple meaning, everybody agrees we're not having yelling matches, right? It was like, yeah, I think it's time. I would say do it yourself.
Mm,
Do it yourself unless there's like millions of dollars at stake, and then that's when you need an accountant, an attorney to kind of divide the assets. Now if you don't have millions of dollars, even hundreds of thousands of dollars, I think you can do it yourself, honestly.
absolutely. At what point?
Even if you have children, you can do it yourself.
Yeah,
I've seen people do it with child support. Some states you can do it yourself. Some states you can. I know I'm in Texas, so Texas you can do it yourself. Maybe Florida. There's a few other. It's about 12 or 13, and that's in the book too. But you can do it yourself. You can even Google and say which can I get a divorce online. It's super
right.
easy.
Right, right. Oh my God. And it was so thorough. When I read it, I was like, oh, she left no stone unturned. The portions that I got through. What what part at what point in a woman's life and she's deciding around divorce, would they come to you? Who do you serve at what stage?
At the beginning stage, because I can do beginning, I can do right before the divorce decree. If you need help with your divorce decree, you want to know what I put in mine, I will tell you that. I will tell you what you should put in there if you want to protect yourself and have a future for your kids.
Right.
um, the divorce decree is so important because you can really lock some stuff up. You can make sure that they do not take you off the beneficiary of their insurance. You make sure that they have keep health insurance for the kids. You could make sure that who they're dating is suitable for the kids, right? Because
Mhm.
they're gonna date, you could put whatever you want in there. You could put college stuff in there. It's just dependent on the situation,
Absolutely.
and what their lifestyle is.
That's that's so good. What was one of the most surprising things that you found in your journey that kind of like took your breath or just really unlocked something maybe in you?
I would say that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Mm.
Because we are programmed by TV shows. We're programmed
Yeah.
by all these other type of outside influences that tell you, oh, your life will be miserable, you will be boring, you're gonna die an old maid,
Oh,
right?
right. Right.
And it's not like that. It's not that. Like, you've probably been standing on your own 2 feet longer than you know. You just had
Absolutely.
that person just in the shadow. Because I realized that I was like, wait a minute. He was out of town, and I was working, taking care of him. I'm like, you know what? I can do this. Like, I don't need him here, you know?
I've seen too in women that I've helped and I've served, and we talk about it, and they're thinking about divorce, and or they're divorced and they're concerned about following co-parenting to the letter, and it's like you already know what co-parenting looks like. You were doing that the whole time in your marriage. How was that?
That's 100%. Yep,
Such a
you've been doing that because
yes.
the mental load falls usually on the woman. There's the doctor appointments, there's booking travel, you've done all the things. So you
And it's
got it.
like that they weren't present at all anyway.
Right. Right.
Mentally, physically, all of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
At
Wow.
least in my situation. I mean, there is some dads I'm sure that are very hands, but my particular situation, no.
Another question for you. Are there any misconceptions about divorce and healing that you often encounter in your work?
Yeah. A lot of people think, oh, the quicker I get this done, the quicker I will heal. No, healing, we gotta be patient with ourselves. It's a
Mhm.
process, right? It's not moving on quicker. It's not about, oh, I need to hurry up and start dating. It's about taking the time to love on you and meeting yourself where you need to be. And that's a misconception. Another one is I just lost my train of thought. It
It's
will
okay.
come to me. But
Yeah.
but it takes time. Just it's okay if you want to be single for 2 years. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay if, or on the flip side, like when you file, you want to start dating because you already did that work. It's
Absolutely.
you. There is no like rules to follow. You just love yourself first, take care of you, and then you will know you will know how to proceed. And just know there's setbacks. There's ups and downs. There's emotional, and you got to take the emotion out of it. It's a business. You got to treat it like a business.
That's good. That's good. Take the emotion out of it because at that time it's a business. You
You're two entities that just broke. You just cut ties, and so now that's how the government looks at you, as two entities. You're not
mhm.
even human. You're an entity.
I think I read that part in the book too. I was like, that's good. Oh my
Yeah, so
goodness.
if you treat it like a business, and I understand not everybody is a business owner, but those who are, if you treat it like a business, it will be much easier.
That's good. That's really, really good. Is there a successful or transformational moment from your coaching practice that highlights the power of healing after divorce?
I would say there was this one person. She was very skeptical, and she was like, well, I'm not sure if I want to. She was going to deal with it. Three options. She was either going to stay, leave, or just stay, leave, or they were just going to do their thing but still be married, right? And I told her, I was like, well, you wouldn't be here. You know the answer. First of all, she knew what she wanted.
Right.
She The financial part was her hold on. That's why she was holding on for the finances. And I was like, oh,
Right.
I get that. I get that 100%. But you work too. Like, you're not a stay at home mom. You have a full time job. You bring in a significant income as well. Just change the way you budget. Put some money back.
Right.
So when she discovered that, and I was like, you probably should go to therapy, you know, and I said, 3 months, come back and you let me know what you think. She went to therapy for 3 months and she was like,
Mhm.
I'm definitely getting a divorce, because once you go to therapy, once you start healing that, you're not going to tolerate anything else. You're not going to
Abs-
tolerate bullshit.
Absolutely. I love this. You are just changing lives, setting people free. Oh my gosh, that is so wonderful. And then it provides an opportunity for people to be whole and healthy and then be able to make good connections. I love what
That's
you
right.
were saying about you needed to figure out what was going on so you didn't repeat this.
Right, right. And I have met some amazing people, like friends and people I would consider my soul tribe. You know what I mean? Because I healed that part of myself. I took the time to do the healing, to look at myself and be like, you need to work on this. You need to work on your integrity,
Absolutely.
right? And that's hard to do when you got to really self-reflect and work on those areas that needs to be worked on and be completely honest with yourself. So when I started doing that, I started attracting better people. I have, you know a wonderful squad that I talk to once a week, sometimes once a month, and I go out, with my friends, and we have it's just a good feeling to know that I have amazing people in my life now because I decided to do the work.
Absolutely. And I can see the beautiful light in you. I thank you for sharing, and thank you for creating this body of work, right? The book is amazing. I'd love to kind of, and maybe we've been vacillating between both the personal and um, the professional. I'd love to share what are some hobbies or interests that you have that bring you joy?
Oh, I love traveling. That's one of my favorite things to do. And if I'm not traveling, I'm reading about it.
Mm,
Um, I'm reading about it or listening to somebody podcast. I do yoga.
mm,
I take Zumba classes. That's really fun.
yeah.
And so out the norm because I'm usually like a Pilates person. And I was like, I'm gonna take a Zumba class. That seemed fun. I'm gonna do that. I took piano lessons for a little bit. Um, I was like, you know what? Let's just trying new things to see if I like it. I mean, if it comes to my head and I have the budget for it, I'm just gonna do it
You know,
because why not?
why not?
And it
Because
brings me joy. Yeah.
yeah, you deserve to do it because you want to. I love that. How do you maintain your balance and well-being in your own life while supporting others through challenging times?
I definitely take my me time. My morning routine and my night routine are solid. Like it is I don't care where I am, it's solid. So and I have to do my meditations in the morning. I need to read those scriptures that brings
Absolutely.
me peace, and even just gratitude. I wake up every day thankful and I express that. I express gratitude for my surroundings, for my health, for my ancestors, for just my life because I do have an amazing life.
Yes, you do. And hell, you wrote a book. You wrote a you are it feels like you're serving at your highest capacity. You wrote a book to help these women so they could have the support that you didn't. Um, you gave yourself the support you needed, and now you are also coaching to walk them through it. Those are
Mhm.
some amazing things. Did you ever see yourself doing this?
No, no, never, never. Like it happened also organically, just like the Amazon coaching. That happened organically, and when it was time to release that, I released that, and then this happened organically because I was journaling. I love
Mhm.
to journal, and I just kind of journal my thoughts, and I worked with Sierra. We kind of we were it was supposed to be a course, and I was like, no, I really want to write a book. So I just took all those notes, that we had, that we accumulated, and just kind of made a book out of it. We had a bunch of notes. It was a lot.
I love that. How long did it take you to write the book?
It was basically, so I worked with her, and she's a coach, by the way. I worked with her for a month and a half, and we would just write notes. And I was like, okay, she was like, put this in your course. She was like, I think that would be good to put in your course, because it started off as a
That's
course.
got you.
And so, and then I just was like, I took those notes and just expanded them, just kind of talked in more detail about it. So the outline of the book was already written.
Ah,
And all I did was to, subchapter and finish writing.
I love that. So we're saying it took you a month and a half to write this
Bottom
book.
it was quick. It
I
was when I
love
decided, because I was just stuck on the course. I was like, I don't know about this. I was just flat with it. I
it.
didn't feel like it was going anywhere. And then I was like, I'm gonna put it in a book.
I I I love it. I think it's so. If what would you share with women that are looking for something and going through this that is in the book that they need?
first of all, to know, we talked about this earlier, to know your why and to write that down and then look at your budget because that it counts.
Mm,
Let's look at that.
absolutely.
And I'm not one of scarcity, but then there are some things that you can probably cut out and just start doing that. Start your emergency fund. If you're still married, you start that. Yeah, you start some things while you have two incomes.
I know that's
Okay.
I know that's right. I love it, girl. Empower these women. They need it because when you're going through, everything is just all jumbled up in there. You don't know what's left, what's right, what's in the middle. I get that. Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a particular quote or mantra that resonates with you and guides your approach to coaching and in your life in general?
My mantra lately, it changes because I love mantras. Right now, mine is progress, not perfection. I was
Mm,
trying to strive for perfection for a minute and I fell
yeah.
flat on my face. And I was
Mm,
like, you know what? It's progress. I'm just going to focus on the progress
I love
each
that.
and every day. If it's little bitty, I'm going to celebrate the small wins. I'm going to focus on the progress, just me
Right.
moving the needle.
That is good. That's the second time today I heard that moving the needle. That's interesting. I love that. I love that. Um, I love that. So tell us a little bit about your coaching program. What's your offer?
My offer is it is a 12-week program, and in it, there's a client intake form, and we will just break that down in our initial meeting, and we will talk about, budgeting. We will talk about the why. We will understand what we want the post divorce life to look like, and then
Mm,
re, we will reverse engineer that into, because it's customized, it's client based, it's very personal too. And if there's, one person I was working with started a business, skincare, and yeah,
skincare.
yeah, she was an accountant, and I was like, oh wow, I just never thought that was gonna be.
So there's so many possibilities. I love the fact that you said you reverse engineer it. So you start with what they want post divorce, what they want for themselves, their life, their goals. I would imagine that some vision takes place in that too to get to that point.
Right.
And yeah,
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 absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. And
I love
then you just and there's the emotional part because, as you know, is very emotional, and there's some very highs and there's some low lows, and there's mindset work. The mindset work will help you get through those emotional things. um my thing is finding something you love to do. I walk, I meditate, and that's I have to do something every day. I have to
absolutely.
move my body every single day, and so you have to find I help them discover what that is for them. If they do breath work or yoga or Pilates, whatever it is, you gotta ground yourself. You gotta be centered.
Absolutely. I have one girlfriend, hers is kickboxing. After
Ooh, that's fun.
kickboxing and she's kicking butt. I'm like, okay, girl.
She's
I
probably
love
picturing his face.
absolutely. So when they come to you, they'll fill out an intake form. It's a 12-week program and they discover their why. They discover, it sounds like they discover like what they really want.
Because I'm the type of person, if like you do what lights you up. Like what lights you up? And some people don't know because
Mm,
they have been catering to their kids. They don't even know what they like anymore. They don't even know themselves. So we get to know ourselves better. And then it's like, well, I used to like, playing around with body scrubs, making body scrubs, and
right.
just stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to remember again. It's like, oh, I did enjoy it. These were dreams that I once had. I
Right,
love that.
right.
I love that. That's exactly what happened to me and why I'm here too. So I feel so super excited for you and your journey. Um And so, speaking of your journey, what else is on your journey? Is there anything else you want to share with us?
Um, that's it. I mean, my book and my program, you could follow me on Instagram.
Who are you on Instagram?
So, yeah, I am I Thrive Coaching. I started that this year, beginning of the year. I started my I Thrive Coaching. That and then yeah, I'm just encouraging people to get out of unhealthy marriages and to live their best lives.
Amen. Amen. And the one thing that I was going to say about that, when you mentioned about, and I don't know if this was, if we mentioned it here or if we mentioned it in our pre-conversation, but the Bible beating of the word and things like that. And I believe that. So when I was going through, my friend that would call me out of the blue, somehow knowing that I needed a word from her, and one day she said to me, and we weren't even talking about this. I didn't know that I was going to get a divorce or anything. But she said, I've been married 3 times. And she said, just know that God forgives all sin,
Mm-hmm.
even divorce. And it just struck something in me like,
Yeah.
Holy Toledo, Batman. That's that's
Well,
true.
and then the way we look at it, I mean, he also created divorce too.
Absolutely.
That's what we first heard. And so when I
That's
remember just a conversation that from my ex, he would be like, "Well, you're not doing the Lord's will because you're just breaking up a family. You're not forgiving." Well, forgiving and being walked over are two different things. Okay, I can release something, but I'm not going to be a doormat.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and if you were, you was the cutest doormat ever. So cute. I love this. Wow. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience that maybe I have not asked?
I mean, I feel like if you find yourself questioning, if this question comes up, it's for a reason. Explore that.
Absolutely.
Don't let other people tell you how your life should be. You are the co creator, right? So explore that feeling. It could be nothing or it can be something.
Mm-hmm.
Explore it.
Real talk. Explore it. Absolutely. Um, this question just popped in my mind. Do you serve men? If men needed you for a divorce coach, would you
I,
accept men?
Selena, I struggle with that. I don't know. I don't know. As for right now, no.
Mhm.
And I need to explore that side and just why I'm so resistant to it right now.
Yeah.
And I know that, there's the flip side to it. There are men who marry narcissistic women and it's both angles. But I'm just right now, I'm not doing that.
Absolutely. I had a client also that had a narcissistic wife. And so who I'm called to serve, they're Christian women. And he said, well, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. So I figured you might be able to help me too. And I was like,
Well, I was looking at you like, okay, well, do you sir do you coach him?
I did. We're no longer he's no longer my client in that capacity. I did, and I believe that it is a decision that you make at the time. It's not
Mm,
it's
mhm.
not a it's not a finite answer because I am being of service, and I don't always necessarily get to decide what that looks like. I feel the most high does. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
when the opportunity came, it felt right. And I lean
Okay.
into that. I lean
That's
in.
good. I love that. I do. And I will err um on that concept as well. I mean, if it feels right, sure.
Right. And you're
So
gonna know
if
because that's how you trust
yeah,
yourself,
it will
right?
feel, yeah, you because I'm a very intuitive person, so I can feel when something's off. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I like that. I'm glad we talked about that because somebody else asked, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. So it's a and
And
you don't take all the women clients either. I mean, let's be honest. When
absolutely.
we are on that clarity call, you probably don't want to work with some people, and you don't. So and it's the same thing. Like it just got to be a fit for everyone involved.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it helps you grow. And it also helped me realize in my community, um, I wanted you need the masculine energy. If you're
Hmm.
truly going to heal and be in a healing space, I believe from a community perspective, you need that also because there's just a whole picture, I think, at that point than just
Right.
one-sidedness, right? Because some folks I've in this lifetime that I'm sharing right now, they so I live in a posture with my hands, both hands always um like this, so that I can
Hmm.
give and equally receive, so that I
Okay.
so that I can figure out what harmony looks like for me. And I like to say that I keep a warm heart because I've been on this side when I'm so closed off and I'm so pissed off, and I don't like that, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
it doesn't allow me to receive God's fullness in any way,
Right.
right? And I forget where else I was going with that. However, it's also helped me to like let things come and go, because I believe as a society we do a lot of um like acquiring, and
Hmm.
we don't know how to release. We don't know how to let go of things. We weren't taught about what that really looks like, right? But
Right.
if we keep
Right.
this posture, then it is the natural order of life. It's how nature flows, how nature ebbs and flows, right? Storms happen, trees get washed away, things like that. Think it's just a natural flow of life. And I want to be more in flow. When I'm in flow, it feels aligned, it feels
Right.
divine, all of those things. So I lean into that now that I've grown enough to understand and accept what is.
Right. I love that. You're
Abs-
right. When it's in alignment and it just flows better. Yeah.
Absolutely. And when I think about that, as I say that, when I accept what is, there's a book that changed my life, and it's called Loving What Is, and it's really about
Mm.
acceptance, right? And so I'm curious, are there any books or resources that were inspirational or life changing for you that you would recommend to others aside from your book?
Besides for mine, yes, there was one that really like started my journey was "You Are a Badass." I think it's Jen Shapiro.
Oh yeah, because she
I
wrote
love,
"We're Badass at Money" or something too, right?
yeah, yeah, she did, and Rachel Rodgers' book, "We Shall Be Millionaires." I love that book, especially the audiobook. That the last chapter, I think it's the bonus chapter in that, and I'm telling you, that gave me so much life. I even now go back and listen to just that one piece because I love it so much.
Is there,
Um,
is there a portion of it you could share with the audience that you recall from that last chapter?
it was when she was saying like, you do it for yourself, you do it for your ancestors, and that part touched me so much because it's like, right, 100%. Not only because you got to show gratitude to them, and because that's why you're here because of them. So it's time for you to show up.
And
That's what I got from it.
I love that. And what just showed up about that, you saying that is you are who you were waiting for.
I like that.
You are you. realize you needed to be what you needed.
Mm-hmm.
And to anyone out there, more times than not, you already have everything you need.
100%.
Have to
I
go.
believe that.
Absolutely. You just have to go within. That's what I learned on my journey. And it feels like that may have been what you learned on your journey.
Yeah, you just got to drop down and be centered and just listen, right?
Mhm.
And trust. And just trust your decisions. And if it doesn't work out the way you thought, okay, try again. Just keep trying.
Absolutely. It's practice.
It
Life is
is practice
life is a
because,
journey of practice.
well, we go through not listening to ourselves. We try to seek advice from other people, right? And to validate ourselves. And so once we start listening to ourselves, we have to practice that. We have to continue to do it each and every day. So it gets stronger and stronger, that intuition.
Absolutely. And I learned that the hard way. The minute you stop listening to it, it stops talking to you.
Right.
I don't ever want
Yes.
that to happen again. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Naomi, for your time. This has just been the most amazing conversation. I've enjoyed it immensely. And before we go, I would love to ask you, I ask this of all my guests, do you have any questions for me?
I do. So, what advice will you give someone who came to you about going through a divorce?
Um, I
What would
don't
be the number one thing you will like? What would be the starting point or something they could take it and run? What would be an action step for someone who comes to you for life coaching about a divorce?
about a divorce. Um, I always start with what do you want, right?
Mm,
What do you want? You got to know what you want.
what you want. That's right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because then if you don't know what you want, then I do visioning. We work with strategic visioning because sometimes they're so stuck where they are or in the past that they can't even
Mm,
see the possibilities. So
that's
that's
good.
where we start. That's where we start. I love um I call it creating clear vision because I for a long time was walking through life with foggy glasses, living for other
Okay. Yeah.
people, people pleasing,
Mm,
codependency,
yep.
like all of these things that are just sitting there. And so you've got to make space for possibilities. So we do the visioning if they don't know what they want. So that's
That's so good because I love that you said people are stuck in the past, and that's so true. Because I've been there. You know, you keep replaying these scenarios in your head. So to have somebody to coach you through that is so helpful.
absolutely, we get at it. We go deep. We do inner child work. We do it all.
Oh, I love that.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes,
It
that's
is
needed. That is so
absolutely,
needed.
absolutely. So I thank you. Were there any other questions that did that?
No,
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, Naomi. We're going to drop in the caption of this live all of the nuggets that Naomi shared with us today. Again, she's got a 12-week program. What's the name of your program or your framework?
it's just divorce coaching. It's nothing fancy. Just,
It
you
works.
know, maybe I should from divorce to new beginnings. There you go. I
That is
just named
it.
it.
Bam, bam. You heard it here live from Divorce
Yeah.
to New Beginnings. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back again next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern with a new guest. So look for the communications that come out about that. And if you want to be a guest on Coaching Conversations, I will have a link available to you on all my social media platforms so you can find that as well and become a guest. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here. Until
Thank you,
next.
Selena. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. All right. We are ending.